Rain-stitched silver lines across the grocery store's front windows, the kind of late-night drizzle that softens a city into hush. A flickering open sign buzzed over aisle 7, where the last few shoppers buried their faces in hoods. The scanner chirped in steady beeps, a heartbeat under fluorescent lights. An old man's hands trembled as he patted empty pockets, eyes darting from the conveyor belt to the floor. Behind him, sighs. A muttered, "Come on, man." The cashier's smile faltered. She stepped forward, small and steady, and laid her card on the counter. Hours later, she would hear engines idle outside her building, 3 black SUVs lining the curb. If you believe that kindness and hidden strength deserve to be seen, make sure you like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories. Maya Ortiz didn't look like a headline. 26, hair pinned back with a cheap bobby pin, scrubs flecked with the soft lint of long shifts. By day, she was a certified nursing assistant at St. Agatha's, the one who remembered the names of the cafeteria workers and tucked an extra blanket under Boney. Knees without being asked. By night, she studied for her RN. Boards with a second-hand textbook, whose spine had given up years ago. Her apartment was a studio over a laundromat. Always warm, smelling faintly of detergent and sunshine. Bare walls, a thrifted couch, 2 mugs, 1 plant named Brave. On the fridge, a yellow sticky note in her mother's looping script. Be a quiet hero. The week had not been kind. Rent nudged upward. Her brother texted about a broken radiator across town. A patient she loved slipped away in the dawn. She wasn't a martyr. She just budgeted like survival was a skill. She bought store brands and clipped coupons on the bus. Still, she was the one who held elevator doors, who learned the security guard's favorite soccer team, who returned a lost mitten to a little girl with the same soft seriousness she gave to taking a pulse. To most, Maya was background, a helpful shadow, a nodding smile, the kind of person the world steps around without seeing and then misses when the mood of a room sours. There was more to her than quiet, though. Beneath the steady voice, beneath the neat scrubs and discount sneakers, there was a spine of iron, shaped by a mother who worked double shifts and a father who taught her that you can be poor without ever being small. She stopped by the grocery store on her way home because there was a 2-for-1 on eggs, and her neighbor, Miss Patel, had mentioned her pantry was thin. As storm clouds pressed low and the aisles hummed with tired impatience, Maya stood a few feet behind an elderly man in a wool coat that had known better winters. His hand shook as he placed bread, tea, and a handful of simple things on the belt. Everything deliberate. Everything counted. What most people saw was a delay. Maya saw a story. The old man's voice was papery. "I had it this morning. I must have—" He trailed off, fingers checking his coat again. He pulled out a receipt, a church bulletin, a neatly folded tissue. No wallet. The cashier glanced toward the clock. "We can suspend the order if you want to go look," she offered, thin with politeness. Behind Maya, a boy in a hoodie half laughed. "Man's trying to shop on vibes." A woman clucked her tongue. Someone else said, "Just put it back." "We're all tired." The old man flushed. He lifted items with careful apology, setting aside milk, then eggs. He kept the tea, Earl Grey, the cheap kind, and the bread. His mouth worked around a sentence that didn't quite make it out. "My wife, well—" Maya's eyes caught the tremor in his fingers and the way he stared longer at the tea, like it held a person inside it. She knew that look. She'd seen it on men who sat vigil in hospital chairs long after visiting hours, clutching decaf like it could keep a promise. He fumbled in his other pocket and produced a handful of coins. Quarters, dimes, a few pennies. "This, and, if you could put the milk back." The cashier's face softened, but her hand hovered over the void key. The line tightened with impatience. The boy's laugh landed like a slap. Maya stepped forward before the shame could finish its work. "Don't void it," she said, voice level, not loud. She slid her card across the counter to the cashier. "Put it on mine." The old man blinked. No, I couldn't, please." "I'll pay you back." "It's okay," Maya said, and it was not the kind of okay that invited an argument. "You can pay it forward." The boy in the hoodie snorted. "Must be nice." Maya turned, gentle as a teacher. "It is," she said. "It's very nice." The cashier rang the items, hands steady now. "Total $27.41 AO. Sum that would mean Breakfast was toast and tea for Maya. Tomorrow instead of eggs. She felt the math tap her shoulder. She let it pass. The receipt printed, curling like a ribbon. The old man's eyes shone in the wet store light. "What's your name?" he asked, voice cracking around the corners. "Maya." He nodded like he was storing the syllables someplace safe. He lifted his bag with both hands, a soldier bearing a gift. "Thank you, Maya." She watched him shuffle out into the rain, wool collar turned up against the night. She paid for her eggs and for Ms. Patel's rice. And when she stepped into the parking lot, the drizzle had softened to mist. At home, she kicked off damp shoes, boiled water, and studied until the words blurred. Sometime near midnight, a low hum threaded through the street, engines idling. Lights washed her curtains gray. She stood slow, heart climbing her throat. 3 black SUVs had lined up outside her building like punctuation. The hallway smelled like rain and laundry steam. Maya checked the peephole. Dark glass. The gleam of a street lamp smeared across a windshield. A man in a suit by her door. She slid the chain and opened the door to a cautious crack. "Ms. Ortiz?" The man's voice was respectful. Not a question that demanded, just requested. He held his hands open. "My name's Tariq. I'm with Mr. Cole." "Mr. who?" From the middle SUV, the old man from the store stepped out, wool coat buttoned now against the wind. Up close, his eyes were clearer than they had been under fluorescent lights, gray, as if they'd borrowed some sky. He leaned on a cane, but the watchful strength in his posture made the cane seem like a formality. "Evening, Ms. Maya," he said, and the shyness in his smile made him look younger. "I was afraid I might be waking you." Maya opened the door wider. Are you okay?" He nodded. "Better than okay. And it's better than I deserve after tonight. May we?" He gestured, and she stepped aside because politeness and curiosity are cousins. 2 people moved with practiced quiet, carrying boxes, groceries, yes, but also a bouquet of lilies so fragrant the hallway paused to breathe. On top of one box sat a sealed envelope with her name, Ms. Maya Ortiz, handwritten in a tidy old-world script. "I'm Raymond Cole," the old man said softly. "My wife called me Ray. Most people at the hospital know me as the man on the donor wall who looks grumpier in his portrait than he truly is." He chuckled. "We started the Cole Fund after my wife's first surgery. Nurses kept saving her, quietly, ferociously. We learned what sacred work looks like." Maya's breath hitched. She'd walked past that gold-lettered wall 100 times without really seeing the names. "I didn't forget my wallet," he admitted, gaze dropping to the lilies. "I left it where I talked to her, at the cemetery." Today would have been 63 years. Silence, deep and reverent, opened between them. "You saw me," he continued. "Not just the mess of me. You saw the person. You don't know me, and you reached anyway. That's the kind of courage my wife admired most." He nodded to Tariq, who handed Maya the envelope. Inside was a simple letter on thick paper. "Ms. Ortiz, tonight you bought me tea. I would like to buy you time. Enclosed is a commitment from the Cole Fund to cover your RN, exam fees and first semester tuition, for your bridge program at St. Agatha's Partner College, along with a stipend so you can reduce 1 shift a week to study. You give dignity. Let us give you rest. With gratitude, Raymond and Elena Cole." Her throat tightened. She pressed a hand to her mouth, then lowered it, as if willing herself not to float away from her own life. "This is Ray, this is too much." He shook his head, eyes damp. "No, Maya. Too much is the loneliness in that aisle. This is about right." From the doorway, neighbors peered. Someone whispered, "Who is she?" Tariq smiled at them, not unkindly. In the corner of Maya's kitchen, the plant named Brave tilted its head toward the bloom of lilies like it was listening. By morning, word had traveled the building without leaving the stairwell. The laundromat lady slid Maya a free wash. The boy in the hoodie from the grocery store lingered by the door, awkward, apology heavy in his palms. "I was a jerk," he said. "My mom says I should carry people's bags for a week to make up for it." She handed him Ms. Patel's rice and told him to start now. At St. Agatha's, a rumor made rounds. Some donor had stopped by the night shift to ask the aides what they needed. A box with new compression socks appeared in the break room with a note. Quiet heroes deserve comfortable feet. Maya kept going. She still clipped coupons. She still kept a spare. granola bar in her pocket for whoever looked hungry enough to pretend they weren't. But something in the neighborhood's posture changed. The cashier at the store built a small pay-it-forward fund at the register. The boy in the hoodie stocked it with his tips. People began to look at delays differently to see the stories in the stumbles. On the day of Maya's pinning ceremony, an old man sat in the back row. Lily sat beside him like a flag. When her name was called, she felt the weight of her mother's handwriting in her pocket and the echo of a quiet evening when she bought a stranger tea and, without knowing it, bought herself a little time. Kindness is not a transaction. It's a language. It tells the forgotten that they are remembered. It tells the hurried to slow down. It tells the strong to make room. It doesn't ask if help is deserved. It asks if someone is human. 3 black SUVs had seemed like power. In the end, they were just 3 carfuls of gratitude bearing witness to a small, bright thing, a choice that anyone can make on an ordinary night under an ordinary sign that buzzes open. If this story touched your heart, don't let it stop here. Like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement. And subscribe to our channel, Kindness Wins, to keep these life-changing stories alive. Drop a comment below. Tell us what part moved you the most. Your words might inspire someone else.